In episode 1, when we bought this B6 Avant, this is what it had under the hood. After the timing belt snapped, the pistons in this block were likely damaged. In the last episode, we rebuilt this block with forged rods, and so our next job would be to rebuild the head. So first up was disassembling the head, and this is a pretty time-consuming process. So with all the valves, springs, and lifters out, the head was now fully disassembled, and it was a good opportunity to clean it. So we went ahead and cleaned the old intake valves, and you'll see in a second why we weren't cleaning the old exhaust valves. So when we bought the car, we were also given an exhaust valve and spring and retainer kit from the brand Brian Crower. For the engine to be able to hold higher power and higher RPMs, these should both help. Now it's time for lapping, and so we lapped the new exhaust valves, and we also did the old intake valves. Lapping basically helps the valves seal better, so if the valves don't seal, you lose compression, so it can cause your engine to misfire and run rough. Here you see my brother putting in the new exhaust valves with the help of the valve spring compressor, and basically he had to do this 20 times, and this is how it came out. So if you remember in the last video, we ended off with missing bolts for the oil pump. We figured we could disassemble the block and we could take bolts and other parts that we needed off of it. So finally we got the block out, and there's the transmission that definitely won't give me any issues. So now we finally got to work getting the parts off the block that we needed. We're actually going to use this flywheel in our block as it was still in decent condition. Now back to the oil pump. We can finally get it mounted and finish the rest of the bottom of the block.
My username will be down below in the description box, and young ladies, make sure to give me a follow.
Anyway, now we could get the head on the block, so first we put on the head gasket, and then we also had an ARP head stud kit, so we could get that into the block, and then the head would be ready to go on. After getting the camshafts clean, we placed both into the head. With both in, we could start getting all the cam caps on. Now, annoyingly, I had to take off all the cam caps as I had basically forgotten to lubricate the cam lobes and the cam caps. Even after all this, there was still one thing I was missing and one thing I had done wrong, and they're both in this general area. I'll soon explain what the issues are and I'll go through and fix them, but at the time I didn't know of them, so I went through and torqued all the cam cap bolts. Another thing we did at this time was installing the oil filter housing, oil cooler, and oil filter. We made sure to replace the relevant gaskets as well. So the last thing I did yesterday was torquing down all these cam caps, but I realized we had made two mistakes. So one was for torquing everything, I didn't check the cam chain timing. Something to do with how many pins are between a notch in this gear here and a notch in that gear there. So I think it's off by like one notch. We also forgot to put one of the gaskets here under the cam chain tensioner or adjuster, whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna have to take everything out right now. Probably won't record it, but I'll just do that quickly right now. So now I basically went through and did this whole same process you guys had already seen with torquing all the cam caps. But as I said, I had to replace one seal that we had forgotten to put here for the cam chain tensioner. And I made sure the timing was correct. So basically there's a notch in there in the cam gear, and then you have to count 16 pins to get over to the other notch. So we also took off the cam gear and we're going to replace the seal for that. These are the two seals we're going to use to replace on the two locations right here and here. We'll now start installing a timing kit that we got with the car when we bought it. I know a lot of people switch to manual tensioners on these engines, but we had this kit so we were just going to use it. Here you can see how it all works when I spin the engine. I referenced this video when doing the timing of this engine. We could finally finish up the head of the engine with the valve cover gasket and also the spark plug hole seals. And then of course we put on the valve cover and tighten down the nuts. After this, we got on the exhaust manifold and then we attached the stock KO3 turbo to it. We also got more parts on the block, like some of the metal brackets, the power steering pump, alternator, AC compressor as well. Our engine's basically done now. At this point, we just didn't have the thermostat housing in. We later figure out it's still in the engine bay though. And so in the next episode, we really need to clean this engine bay. And we're also going to install a new clutch kit on the engine. And so hopefully everything goes smoothly.